Aloha everyone and welcome back to my channel Astrology Dome. My name is Galit and today I'm going to talk to you about Mercury. And the reason is I think we don't really pay attention to our Mercury in our chart. I mean, we don't feel that it's such an important and vital planet. But is it or is it not? Let's find out. I think Mercury is very important in our chart. And the reason is we are living our life processing information. And the processor is Mercury. So everything we do, whether it is information that's coming to our senses, whether it is information that we are learning in traditional ways or any streaming social media, video, movie, music that you hear is information. So Mercury is that part of us that is responsible for processing this information. Now, this is a big task, isn't it? So let's break down what Mercury does for us and see where is your Mercury, what sign and house is your Mercury, and what aspects you have to your Mercury, because these will determine how you process information and why you process the way you do. And is it beneficial for you or is it not? Is there something you can change about the way you perceive the world around you? So first of all, a few things about Mercury. Mercury is the fastest planet in our solar system. It is always close to the sun. It cannot be further away from the sun more than 28 degrees. So actually your Mercury will always be close to your sun sign. It can either occupy the sign before your sun sign or the sign after your sun sign or be in your sun sign. Either way, this is your Mercury. However, Mercury does go retrograde between 3 to 4 times a year. So it is close to the sun, running together with the sun, then it goes retrograde, then it is catching up with the sun, goes retrograde, and so forth. That's why it is such a fast moving planet, and it is constantly in movement, in action. That's why it's an action planet. The other thing about Mercury is that it's doing its round trip around the sun in 88 days. So we said that it is really a fast moving planet. Let's see what Mercury is doing for us. So Mercury, its sole function is to service the sun. When we come here, our sun sign and our sun placement is what we have to master and learn in this lifetime. And then we get all the other planets servicing that sun, the need of the sun. So Mercury's function is to bring information to the sun so the sun can become its shining being, right? That's what we are learning to be. We are not our sun sign when we're born. We're more of our moon sign. You know, the first 7 years, we are kind of our moon sign. We're learning the traits of our sun sign. And the first 7 years are really important in our life because that's when we get all the coded information from our parents, from our surrounding, from the first people that we meet, from our first experience. And those programs are all coded by Mercury, who is the absorbent of the information. And it is also the storing of the information. Mercury is responsible for our memory. So we are storing this information somewhere. And everything that will happen later in life, we will go to retrieve our experience from that storage, from that memory, from that information place, and see how we feel about that. So that first storage is really important, and what's more important is to update that storage, because through life we get to learn and we get to accumulate more experiences, and some of them are not in alignment with what we had before, or if we had traumatic experiences in childhood, which most of us did, we are always going back to that trauma response and trying to relieve that trauma response because that's what we know. So it's really important to update our storage and our way of processing information for more beneficial ways so we can thrive better. Back to Mercury. So Mercury absorbs information. It is also the processor. You know, our mind and Mercury is a computer. It's a supercomputer. We humans did not succeed to create such a useful and amazing and super fast computer as Mercury. and as our mind is. But we're heading there. AI, right? So we absorb information through Mercury, we process information. We also absorb information, and I want you to know that, through the moon, because the moons are the emotions that, and the emotions, it's an emotional response, yet it is also related to Mercury because every emotional response is also coded in the bank of information in our memory storage. So we also absorb emotional feeling information, and we also absorb information through our five senses, which are represented by the earth element in our chart. Mercury is also how we make decisions. Now, this is really important because every second we make a decision. Every second we make so many decisions every day. So how do you make a decision? You make a decision based on the information you had and on past experience. If your decisions are not successful, there is something in your past experience and past memory and past processing that is not letting you progress to make better decisions. So this, you need to find out what it is that's holding you there. Past belief, past trauma, past values, maybe they're not adaptable to who you are, to your version right now. Check it out. Mercury is also our communication style. I'm talking to you right now. I'm moving my hands, the way I talk to you, the way my body language is. These are all ruled by my Mercury. And how do you do it? So obviously it's also our ascendant and other parts of us, but Mercury is responsible for our speech, for our thoughts, for the way I retrieve information speaking to you. This is all Mercury. So Mercury is all about our communication style. It is also how we think, how we know things, how we learn all the time. We consume information all the time, whether we're aware of that and whether if we're not aware of that. How we communicate, what kind of an intellect we have, our memory, short-term, long-term, and the way we reason. And reason is really, really important because the reason is the process that we do, and we say to ourselves, we categorize things. This makes sense to me, this not. This I'm going to categorize in under unpleasant experiences. I do not want this to happen again. This I'm going to categorize under I want more pleasant experiences, whatever that may be. So reason is a process that we are running all the time. We get the information, we reason, we create a reason about this information, and then we categorize it. This is going on all the time. Mercury's desire to communicate perceptions through skill or speech. Our life is about experience, and we have a perception about our experience, and then we want to share that perception for two reasons. One, we would like to understand through sharing, we actually get a higher level of understanding for ourselves, and through sharing, we are also teaching somebody else and communicating with somebody else, which is another need that we have built in within ourselves. So we gain all that. So we are actually exchanging perceptions all the time. That's what we're doing with others. We're exchanging our perception of reality, and we are hearing and learning somebody else's perception of their reality, because we can never really be somebody else. We can never experience what they experience. So hopefully we understand the information that they're sharing with us, and we get something out of it and learning something out of it for ourselves. The need for Mercury's need is to connect with others, to learn. Our life is a learning experience. That's what we do day in, day out, from the moment we're born to the moment we leave. This is a learning experience on this earth. It's a pretty good learning experience. Yes, it may be challenging at times, maybe a lot of times. Yet, if you were playing a virtual reality game, you would say, yeah, there are challenges, right? It's kind of the same thing. However, our emotions, and sometimes very painful emotions, are determining the amount of pain we experience. And in life in general, we want to move away from pain and move into pleasure. This is the movement that we're usually choosing to do, from pain to pleasure. Mercury rules two signs. It is ruling Gemini and Virgo. It is in exaltation. That's where it really functions at its best in Virgo. It is in detriment in Sagittarius. It is not doing so well in Sagittarius, and it is in its fall in Pisces. So that means it is not its best performance in Pisces. So this is in general what Mercury is all about. Now I bet you're very curious about your Mercury. So let's go through Mercury through the signs and see what kind of effect each sign has on Mercury's expression. So let's go over Mercury in each sign. Now, each sign has a positive expression and a negative expression. No matter what planet you have in each sign, they would always have a positive and a negative expression. It's on you to determine, are you exhibiting the positive sides or the negative sides, or maybe both of them, depends in the situation. I'm not going to run into all the aspects Mercury can have in your chart because it's just way too many variables. But I want you to know that each aspect you have in your chart to Mercury will modify the way you do your Mercury. So that's important to note. But let's run through the signs first. So Aries. Aries is a cardinal sign. It's a fire sign. So it is enthusiastic. Therefore, it's Mercury. If you have Mercury in Aries, you're very urgent. You need to do things right now. There is an urgency to your speech. There is an urgency to whatever you do, to your movement, to the way you create information and to the way you absorb information. It's very important. Speed is really important for you. You're full of energy. You're full of enthusiasm. You're kind of an entrepreneur, right? Bringing new ideas to the table all the time. And you're full of ideas. You love to start things. You're initiator. And you just have this beautiful leadership energy to start things, and it comes out in the way you speak. It comes out in the way your body language is. And obviously it depends where Mercury is in your chart. If it's in the 12th house, obviously it will slow you down. But if it's in your 10th house, hey, you're a star of communication. So that will also determine what kind of Mercury communication you're doing. But overall, you are that initiator, energetic entrepreneur, forward thinking. On the negative side, you may be very pushy. Some people may say that you can be very aggressive, especially if somebody didn't like your ideas. Then you get sometimes into combat mode, and you can be childish, expecting people to just love your ideas because they're your ideas and you think they're the best there are. So maybe you need more patience. Mercury in Taurus. If you have Mercury in Taurus, you are enduring, you're slow, and you're practical. So I want you to think about it. Mercury in Taurus loves stability. And so you like to be clear. You like to make your point clear. So you're not going to speak very fast. You're not going to be running into new adventures without thinking. No. You have to think, you have to plan, you have to know what you're saying, you have to know what you want to do step by step. And that's what makes you so enduring. That's what makes you a good businessman. That's what, or businesswoman. That's what makes you so dependable, so persevering, because you are thinking long and hard before you're speaking. You're not jumping out to conclusions. No, you need to figure out everything before you really speak. That's what makes you so practical. On the negative side, you can be very procrastinating because you keep saying to yourself, I don't have all the information. I still need to think about it. I don't know if this is the right time. So pay attention to that. You may be stubborn, stuck in your ways. Taurus is a fixed sign. So you may not like other people's bringing new ideas that you have to adapt to new reality. You don't like that. You may be stubborn. And you may be stagnant because of those qualities. You stay in your place saying, this is safety. I don't want to move from safety. So watch for these if you exhibit them somewhere. Mercury in Gemini. Mercury in Gemini is very, very active. It's versatile, variety, and expressive. You're so curious. You really love information. You love to get information and you love to give information. So information highway is where you thrive. And you like all kind of information. It's not necessarily has to do anything with your job or anything with something that you learned or anything to do with something that you know. On the contrary, the newer, the better. You like to be exposed to all kind of information. However, sometimes this can make you flaky because there's too many things going on and you may not walk on one path, but you will kind of disperse yourself and be scattered because you want to consume so much and you want to know so much, so you can not find a way to specialize. Or maybe you do. And people may say, oh, you're too shallow because you just consume a little bit of information from many different sources instead of just going and becoming a researcher in one path. However, it depends where Mercury in Gemini is in your chart, because if it's in an Earth house, for example, the second house or the sixth house or the 10th house, you're much more stable because that Earth house will give you stability. So you see, if it connects to Saturn, for example, you can be an amazing researcher because Saturn will give you that structure, that stability. So it really depends where Mercury is in your chart, the house it is in, and the aspects that it's making to other planets. Mercury in Cancer. Mercury in Cancer has a really good memory because Cancer is that sign that holds. It holds emotions and it holds memories. So you have a very good memory. You remember everything from the past, so you're past oriented. If Mercury in Aries is forward oriented, future oriented, Mercury in Cancer is past oriented. You can remind everybody of everything that had happened, which can be a good thing, and sometimes it can work against you if you remember too many painful things. You're very instinctive because Cancer is that feeler. You have those feelers. So your Mercury is kind of psychic. You feel things without a word being said. So you get mercurial impressions even from people, from their body language, from their energy language that you pick up from many other signs that you're not even aware of. So your Mercury is really a psychic Mercury. And you're very protective oriented because Cancer is protective. So everything you think about has to be in alignment with protecting yourself and protecting your family. You're a nurturing person. You care to nurture who you belong to, your tribe, your immediate tribe, your family. And so your ideas are always with caution. You always think with caution because you want to protect your life. People may say, oh, you're too fearful when it comes to new ideas and moving you from what you know. Past oriented, we talked about it, and too protected. Sometimes you are afraid for your safety, for the people around you safety, and you're trying to protect instead of rationalizing what needs to be rationalized. Mercury in Leo. Leo, you always want to be impressive, so you come out grand. Your speech is with authority, with dignity. You talk like that. People feel respect to you, and that's what you want. You are creative and you're honest. Yes, you care to be honest because you want to work with integrity. And so the way you communicate is always like a leader, a respected leader. And you're also very interested in your creative endeavors. So whatever it is that you're doing creative, you really want to talk about it and have a conversation about that. You can be perceived on the negative side as imposing, as someone who's controlling other people and insisting on their being right and their ideas being right. Well, if that's what you feel that you're running into, then pay attention. Maybe there is a message saying to you, you know what, you're not the only one in the world. We know you want to be on stage, but you may need to tone down and understand that other people have valid ideas. And people may accuse you in being selfish because you love talking about yourself. You love talking about your creativity and what you're bringing forth and your ideas. So that's understandable. As long as you stay honest and with integrity, everybody would love you. Mercury in Virgo. Mercury is in exalted in Virgo. It's doing its best in Virgo because Virgo is that analytical sign, and Mercury is a processor. It's a computer. It loves analytics. It likes 1 + 1 = 2. Go from here, do that. Yes, no, 0, 1. It loves that, and Virgo can do that the best because Virgo is a detail-oriented sign, and it likes to be critical. Oh, this doesn't work. This works. Yes, no, yes, no. It's just its language. So Mercury thrives in this environment. Virgo is also adaptable. Let's not forget it's a mutable sign. And Mercury like that because Mercury likes to be adaptable. It likes to be versatile. It wants to adapt to new ideas. It's very fast. How much analytical power your computer has, computing power. Mercury would love to have all that computing power and related to Virgo, and both of them can have a really good time doing some sort of a research of amazing amount of information. On the negative side, Mercury in Virgo can be lost in details. It cannot see the forest from the trees. It can be too practical, so it can get into the nitty-gritty and be very critical, too critical, very judgmental, I would say. So pay attention to that. If you have Mercury in Virgo, you can be judgmental. Mercury in Libra. You guys are thinking, first of all, how to bring balance. Yeah, that Mercury constantly computes how can I bring more balance and harmony to my surrounding. Now, in Libra, Mercury is very interested in relationship because Libra is the sign of relationship. So it is very interested in communicating with other people. So you like relationship, you like exchange of information, you like to talk about relationship, and you like to be with people. So it's a very friendly Mercury, very social Mercury. It's diplomatic because it wants to bring balance. So it is trying to say the right thing at the right time and not to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And it wants to bring balance. On the negative side, Mercury in Libra is trying to bring so much harmony, and it doesn't want to offend anybody that it may not be honest. It will conceal information that may hurt the other person, but then it will be perceived that you're flaky and that you're shallow and that you're not sincere because you're afraid in getting into arguments with anybody. You don't want to offend anybody, but withholding information, people feel it. People feel that you're not honest with them. So think about it if this is something that is coming up in your life. Mercury in Scorpio. You guys are intense, and you know it, and people know it about you. This is the first thing people see about you, intensity. And the reason you're intense is that you are really interested in the depth of the depth of the depth. You want to know everything, not just what's going on the surface, but why things are happening. And you want to reveal any secrets. If there are any secrets, you want to find out what they are. So you're psychic, you have this ability. If Cancer is sensitive and intuitive, Scorpios are really psychic. They get all the information, for better or worse, because sometimes you attract some darkness information that is not even related to you, and you feel that it's related to you, but it's not. So pay attention when you pick up some stuff from other people. Know where your boundaries are, because your Mercury is so sensitive, especially to trauma. You are a trauma specialist. You can pick it up from anywhere. You see it, you notice it, because you're down, bottom line, you're healers. You know how to heal if you have a lot of Scorpio. And you want to do deep thinking. So I love Scorpios that are researchers. You guys can be the best researchers or detectives, because you always find out the reason, the cause. There is nothing hidden for you. On the other side, on the negative side, you can be very secretive. You are withholding information from people, and sometimes you're withholding information from yourself. I know it sounds strange, but you have that part of you that is repressed sometimes, and you don't want to reveal a lot of things about your shadow part. So people feel that you're withholding information. You can be jealous and cruel. True. Mercury in Scorpio depends on the aspect, depends on the houses, of course, can be very jealous, possessive, and can have thoughts of cruelness if you are on that side. Depends on the rest of the chart, of course. But sometimes you find yourself and you say, I can't believe I'm thinking like this. So pay attention when this shows up. This is your shadow side that needs to clean up. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, not at all. It just needs clean up, because cruelty always comes up because of pain. So under cruelty and jealousy, there is always pain. So this is what needs to be healed. Mercury in Sagittarius. Freedom, tolerant, inspired. Sagittarius people loves the high road, right? They like adventure, they like philosophy. You love talking philosophy. You are a philosopher. You love spirituality. You love religion. You love all the good talks about where we're from, where did we come from, where are we going, all those beautiful conversations to have with people. You like to roam the world, whether it is by actual travel or by mind travel. So you are the expensive thinker. You can be teachers. You can be authors. This is a good position for Mercury to be. On the other side, you can be fickle because you're so interested with so many things that you can just know a little bit of each and just skim that top part of the information and never go deep. You can be changeable and you can be blunt. This is Sagittarius. People are known to be blunt. So sometimes, many times, you can say the wrong thing at the wrong time. It's not that you're cruel at all. You're very innocent, actually. But you think you can say anything to anybody, anytime. And that's not correct, because people do have feeling and they get insulted. So sometimes you find yourself insulting people without meaning to, but because you speak what you think without any boundaries. So pay attention to that if it shows up in your life. Mercury in Capricorn. Hey, practical Capricorn, practical, useful, meticulous. Oh, definitely meticulous Capricorn. Capricorn is interested in results. So Mercury in Capricorn wants to bring information, process it, and create a practical use out of it. It's not enough to process information. It wants to know what can be done with it. So it will compartmentalize and store it in ways that you can do something about it and use the information. It will also be very cautious about talking to people, because it will want to speak in a very practical way, in a very logical way, in a very respectable way. Capricorn is all about gaining respect and showing up honorably. On the other side, this Mercury can be very cautious. First of all, you say, no, I don't need this. I don't want this. I have enough. Thank you. So cautious. Sometimes cautious is really good. Sometimes cautious is stopping you from accepting, from receiving. So pay attention to that. Can be prudent and fearful. That Mercury can say no to life sometimes, because it is not sure what's going to be the payback, because it's Capricorn, it's business. So do I owe anything if I receive? So the receiving giving mode of Capricorn can be tricky. Pay attention to that. But overall, this is an excellent position for business, excellent position for really getting results, sustainable results in this life, practical results. Mercury in Aquarius. Totally different, right? Different is the word. Unconventional, innovative, free. Well, you guys that have Mercury in Aquarius are inventors. You invent new things. You bring a new idea all the time to the world. You bring different way of thinking. You're thinking out of the box. And you like that. You like that quality about yourself. You know you're different. You know you're very friendly, very social, can exchange information with people. On the negative side, you can be very stubborn. You don't like to depart with your ideas. You find it hard sometimes to accept other people's ideas, because you figure that you're so progressive and your ideas are so innovative that everybody else should accept them. Not necessarily so. You could be disconnected from other people because you're thinking humanitarian. You're thinking about the group more than the individual. Sometimes you're thinking about the authentic self and how you want to express your authentic self, but as a whole, you're thinking about the grand scheme of things, and sometimes you can see that other people need something else. So pay attention to that. But overall, you guys are bringing new information to the planet and new inventions that the planet definitely needs to hear. Mercury in Pisces, inspiration, creativity, psychic ability, faith. You are connected to all there is, to God, to whatever the creator is, to the universe. You can bring those downloads much easier than any of the other signs, especially if you have a prominent Mercury in your chart. You're versatile, you're artistic, you're very artistic, very creative, mainly poetry, love fantasies. You love that. You can bring that to the world. And you are an inspiration. You can bring a lot of inspiring ideas and compassion. The way you speak, the way you react, the way you act, the way you give of yourself. A lot of compassion through the way you express yourself. On the negative side, you guys can be impressionable. You believe, you're gullible, you believe people, and people can tell you all kind of stories and you may believe them. So pay attention to that, be more discerning. You can be confused, and escapism is a strong one for Mercury in Pisces. Yes, because fantasy world seems to have all the right answers, much more than the real world. So you can sometimes choose to escape. So pay attention to those traits if you exhibit them in your daily life. But overall, you are inspiring to the world. So I hope that you enjoyed this video about Mercury. I think Mercury is really important in our chart because through absorbing and processing and giving out information, that's the way we create our life. You know, your thoughts create your reality, and you know that. And so the way you think and the way you process information and what you think about and how you speak to yourself and to others and what you say to the universe makes a difference. This is how you create your life. So how do you create your life? And if you want to create better results, what can you shift? What can you shift in the way you process information and in the way you communicate it back to your surrounding? And if you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. I'd like to grow my channel, and this is the way I can do that. And I thank you for watching, to each and every one of you. And as usual, enjoy today and become the best version of yourself today and every day. I will see you next time.